Good morning to one and all. I, Dr. Piyush Bhadvia, General Secretary of Indus International Research Foundation, welcome you one and all to the webinar on Nepal crisis, what the Gen Z want. In today's webinar, the panelists are Major General Vijay Bisnayak, Professor Som Khatiwada, Dr. Poonam Rajalakshmi Rana, Research Scholar Neeraj Bhandari. And the discussion will be moderated by Group Captain Raj Chakrav Mehta, Shaurya Chakra, Vice President of Indus International Research Foundation. The webinar will be presented by President of IIRF, Brigadier C. Sandeep Kumar, VSM. First, I take the privilege to introduce our esteemed panelists. First, Major General Retired Vinod Pasnaik, sir. He is currently a strategic analyst with keen interest in geopolitical affairs, emphasizing politics, diplomacy, security, centering South Asia and Southeast Asia, in affiliation with various academic institutions and international organizations. General Vinod served a career in the Nepal Army, decorated with special recognitions, including the Order of Gorkha Dakshin Bahu, Order of Sri Shakti Patta, and the Suprabal Jan Seva Shri from Nepal, Order of the Lion from the Republic of Finland, and the Order of Cross of Merit from the Federal Republic of Germany. He is a graduate from National Defense College, New Delhi, India, Command and General Staff Officers course from United States Army Command and General Staff College, Kansas, USA, and the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst, UK. He is also an alumnus from Advanced Security Cooperation course from the Asia Pacific Center for Security Studies, USA, Executive course in Defense Decision Making from the Center of Civil Military Relations, Naval Postgraduate School, California, USA, and the War College, Mahu, India. He has also headed prestigious military educational institutions like Nepalese Army Military Academy and Undergraduate Granting Institution, Nepalese Army Command and Staff College, a Master's Granting Institution, and as Chief Instructor, Higher Command and Management Courses, Nepalese Army War College. General Vinod is also a strategic writer with more than 220 publications on geopolitical affairs in diverse national and international broadsheets, magazines, journals, and chapters of the book. Next panelist, Professor Som Prasad Khatiwada. He has teaching and research experience of more than 36 years. He was former head of Department of Nepalese History Culture at Tribhuvan University, Nepal. Presently, he is president of the Association for the Study of Culture and Religion. He has to his credit 30 books, 150 research articles, more than 3 journal editions, more than 2 books edited, and he has won 8 prizes and awards at the national and international level. Our third panelist is Dr. Poonam Rajalakshmi Rana. She was an associate professor in the Department of Nepalese History and Culture, Archaeology, till February 2025. Presently, she is professor at Swami Vivekananda Subbharati University in India. She holds doctoral degree in Nepalese history, culture, archaeology. She did her master's degree in sociology from Tribhuvan University. She is presently General Secretary of Nepalese Heritage Society and member of Active Women Organization. In the year 2016, she was visiting scholar to Sichuan University, China, and was also a visiting project scholar at Yunnan Minzo University, China. In 2018, she was at Tibetan University as a visiting professor. In 1997, she won a scholarship to Germany for her stories. In 2020, she was invited by National University of Singapore as visiting scholar. She has presented papers related to culture and social researches and has published numerous articles and books such as Nepalese ethnic costumes and ornaments, photos of Kathmandu valleys, caste hierarchy and livelihood of Baji ethnic group, and animistic practices among Tharus of Dang and Devkhuri, ancient polity book, historical political studies of Lichavi, and other books which are going to be published soon are Costumes and Ornaments of Ranas of Nepal, the Healing Goddesses of the Valley. Our next panelist is Neeraj Bhandari. Shri Neeraj Bhandari is a PhD scholar in development studies at Kathmandu University, researching secularism in Nepal, state behavior, and people's perception. Born and raised in Kathmandu, he worked at the Indian Mission in Nepal for nearly 15 years. His work focuses on development communication, governance, and enhancing evidence-based policy and intervention. Now I request President of IRF, who is also presiding this webinar, for his introductory remarks. Brigadier Sri Sandeep Kumar, VSM. I invite President Sir for his introductory remarks.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's great to see you all here for a very current incident which has happened, and we are trying to discuss that. And I'm sure some clarity of thought will come into people who are listening to it subsequently. The recent youth-led anti-corruption protest and ongoing strategic competition between India and China and maybe some other superpowers have brought renewed instability to Nepal's political and geopolitical landscape. The resulting pressure from regional and global powers challenges Nepal's traditional non-aligned foreign policy as it attempts to manage its international turmoil and address economic concern. Actually, what led to the crisis was a ban on social media in early September 25, which triggered widespread youth-led Gen Z protest against the government. The protests reflected deep public frustration with Nepal's political establishment over issues like corruption, nepotism, high youth unemployment, and economic mismanagement. Nepalese youth are going out of the country to find jobs. And the political situation is also very strange. There is, even in the parliament, everybody is involved in the government. There is no separate political opposition or something like that. Nepalese youth are enlisted as soldiers in UK and now by Russia also. Nepalese government refusal to accept Agniveer system of recruitment in Indian army has also caused increased unemployment of eligible Nepalese youth. These are certain things which has increased. And Nepalese youth has always been going out for finding jobs. Nepal's domestic turmoil provides a key arena for the ongoing geopolitical contest between the two large neighbors, India and China. While Beijing has been increasing its footprint through the Belt and Road Initiative, investing in infrastructure projects like roads and railways. The role of United States in Nepal geopolitics has also become complex under the Trump II administration. Today, with another government gone, suspicions of US involvement swell again. Taken together, the historical record and present whispers trace a clear line. They would like to use Nepal as a base to hem in China and India, which is emerging as economic powers. I would like to mention that total economic dependence on China or USA will force Nepal to be subservient to them, similar to what is happening in many African countries. However, India as a democratic country will never embark on domination of any neighboring country, as is evident. In 71, we ensured that Bangladesh becomes free, but we never went into controlling them or making them economically dependent on us. This is history for everybody to see. With global power structure becoming more complex and changing into a multipolar system, existing global powers would find ways to exploit gullible countries to resist the changes. Nepal should be careful about that, and Nepal has to be politically aware of such developments and emerge as a free and stable country. I am sanguine that India can facilitate that. We all look forward to the webinar today, and I'm sure some of the things will get clarified. And I wish you all the best, and let us get into the webinar straight away. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Group Captain Rajshekhar Mehta, sir, for further proceeding the webinar, and he will be moderating the whole session. Group Captain Raj Mehta, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Badria, Dr. Piyush. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of IIRF, I welcome all my esteemed guest speakers and panelists from Nepal. Nepal, as you know, is not only one of India's closest neighbors, but also closest to every Indian heart. This is because Indian-Nepali hearts throb together due to its emotional, cultural, and religious affinity and close family ties. And this factor, ladies and gentlemen, is often underestimated by foreign powers and foreign scholars. Every Indian, therefore, wants to see Nepal to develop, prosper, and emerge as a modern, peaceful state with its people enjoying the fruits of rapid economic and infrastructure development, which is the flavor of South Asia today. Nobody should miss it. Therefore, any untowards happening in Nepal and that hinders Nepal's march towards development makes Indian feel very uncomfortable, sad, and concerned. However, Nepal's history has reflected resilience, its cultural richness, and it has shown adaptation to modern challenges while preserving its unique identity as a Himalayan nation. Now, before I dive into the discussions today, let me give a brief history of Nepal to put the discussion in the right perspective. This is for my Indian audience who are normally, they are always interested in Nepal, but all of them are not so well versed with the Nepalese history. Now, Nepal history spans thousands of years, shaped by its geography and relation with its giant neighbors. Nepali culture is tied to Kathmandu Valley, a hub of trade and culture, due to its fertile and land and strategic location between India and Tibet and now China. The mythology and early texts mention valley as a sacred site with settlements by Kirat and Gopal dynasties. The Lichavis dynasty that existed between 400 and 750 CE brought political stability, establishing early Hindu-Buddhist traditions in Nepal. Manadeva is a noble figure from this era. Between 12th and 18th century, Kathmandu Valley was ruled by Malla dynasty, while rest of Nepal remained split into three kingdoms, that is Kathmandu, Bhaktapur, and Patan. This period of Nepal history saw a golden age of Nepali culture, making great strides in art, architecture, and trade. In Nepal, Buddhism and Hinduism had always coexisted, with key sites like Shambhunath and Pashupatinath Swarishi. Equally important kingdom of Gorkhas too existed outside the valley. However, in 1768, it was the Prithvi Narayan Shah, the Gorkha king, who is credited with unifying Nepal by conquering the Kathmandu Valley and other regions, establishing the Shah dynasty. Thereafter, Nepal expanded its borders, clashing with Tibet and British India. The Anglo-Nepalese War between 1814 and 1860s led to the Treaty of Sugauli. This is what defines the modern Nepal today. Between 1946 and 1951, due to internal power struggle, Jang Bahadur Rana assumed greater role in governance, established hereditary Rana dynasty, modernized infrastructure, and kept Nepal aligned with British. However, by 1951, Shah rule in Nepal was restored, bringing the end to the Rana rule. Between 1951 to 2008, King Tribhuvan and later King Mahendra introduced limited democracy. In 1959, Constitution was established, I would say parliamentary system, limited parliamentary system, but Mahendra dissolved it in 1960, introducing Panchayat system, a partyless autocracy. In 1990s, People's Movement forced King Virendra to accept the constitutional monarchy and multi-party democracy. The Maoist insurgency between 1996 and 2006 challenged the state and is said to cause over 17,000 deaths in Nepal. The tragic events in the royal family in 2001 brought King Gyanendra brief rule, but the 2006 People's Movement ended the monarchy's active role and paving the way for the republic. Monarchy was abolished for good in 2008, making Nepal a federal democratic republic. A democratic constitution of 2015 gave Nepal its federal structure with 7 provinces, leaving a section of Nepali society called the Madeshis out of the system. Ever since then, Nepal has seen unprecedented political instability, with frequent government changes impacting its economic development, while balancing its ties with India and China remaining the major preoccupation of the political parties and successive political leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, I had already shared the overall objective of this discussion today is to familiarize the audience in India and Nepal about the long-term conceptual and ideological orientation of the current student movement leading to resignation of the elected political government in Nepal. To stakeholders, and I think our speakers and panelists today will voice the concerns of those stakeholders in this current Nepali situation. One is apparently the student who are the main protagonist of this saga. But behind the scene, there are foreign hand also active, and there are socio-cultural issues also present in the minds of the Nepalese people and those who are leading the movement. And I must say that army has played a very, very laudable and mature role in stabilizing and bringing stability and continuity in this process. And these are the things that we are going to discuss today. We will structure this discussion. I will invite all the four our guest speaker one by one, giving them 10 minutes for their introduction to the topics that they want to put across. And later on, we can have some questions arising out of those talk will be posed to the speaker. Then we will also take some questions after the fourth speaker has spoken for 10 minutes each. We will have some questions taken from the audience, and thereafter we will let each speaker to wrap up or wind up their conclusions, and thus we will complete this discussion. Now, since the youngest among the panelists is Sri Dheeraj Bhandari, and the Gen Z is the focus of the entire situation today. I have decided to first give the chance to Mr. Bhandari, who is a research scholar, and we will like to understand from him what caused this sudden outburst of Gen Z agitation. Why was it so violent? What ideology is driving it to this kind of violence? And what are the students' objectives set by Gen Z as per his assessment and understanding to achieve through this agitation? So, Mr. Dheeraj Bhandari, I invite you to put across your views and analysis of the situation, please. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. I once again would like to say hello and namaste all the way from Nepal to the distinguished panelists and the organizers and all the distinguished audience. So before I start, I'd just like to give a very brief overview of what recently happened starting from the first week of September. Like, as we all would know, it was, I think, on 4th of September, the Nepali government decided to shut down 26 major social media platforms that included Facebook, Twitter, currently X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit, Snapchat and Signal, which are the commonly used platform by the young Nepali population. So the stated reason from the government side was to enforce new registration rules that the social media has to be registered in Nepal and also follow the tax for the foreign digital services. So, however, a lot of people, not just the youngsters, but many people in Nepal saw this move as an attempt to, silence the growing criticism. And there was a very viral trend in social media that was tagged as Nepo Kid, which highlighted the very lavish lifestyle of the political elite children amidst widespread poverty. So for Nepal's Gen Z, who were deeply connected to the digital world, this ban somehow felt like, attack on their voice and their future. So the crisis started unfolding slowly because the government action limited, somehow already had started to ignite a wave of protest in the social media. A lot of people sharing this, and predominantly it was by the young people, social media influencers. So they finally decide that, okay, we should now speak up and come to the street. So what began as a peaceful demonstration, which fairly seemed quite organized that morning on 9th of September, but that quickly escalated into violent clashes because on the 9th September, protesters tried to storm the federal parliament building, leading to deaths of 19 students, young people, basically, that very day. And till date, the death toll has reached 72, with injuries over 2,100 people. So this violence culminated in the resignation of the then Prime Minister, Mr. Oli, KP Sharma Oli, and then appointment of Sushila Karkia, former Chief Justice, as the first female interim Prime Minister of Nepal. So as we look back to the entire saga, the protest has also led a trail of devastation, like iconic government buildings, like the heart of our bureaucracy, the Singha Darbar, and the federal parliament were set ablaze. Likewise, the Supreme Court, and besides that, even the private enterprises like one of the biggest retail chain here, Bhatbhatini Supermarket, hotels like Hilton Kathmandu, and telecommunication service provider giant like Ncell had suffered significant damage. So also this protest somehow targeted the media landscape, while the Kantipur Media Group, one of the biggest media group, was also destroyed. So the widespread destruction, somehow not just disrupted the daily life, but also majorly underscored the depth of public discontent. So, looking at the entire scenario, I know our seniors, General Basnath and Dr. Rana, will highlight more on the other angles. While focusing on Genji, the beyond the immediate trigger of social media ban, the protester was, I feel that they were fueled by other deeper issues, like Genjis in Nepal face high unemployment rates. We have very limited economic opportunities, and this political system somehow has been perceived as, not reachable to the people and corrupt. So the social media ban, I'd say, rather than just quelling this dissent amongst the people, somehow amplified feelings of exclusion and frustrations for the youths as well. So for many young Nepali, the digital realm, like the social media platform, was not just a very platform, but also it was a lifeline to the outside world. So, as a historic turning point for this, these events marked a significant shift in Nepal's political landscape, which seems very unprecedented looking at the world history. The Genji protests were not just, a mere reaction to specific policies, but a broader demand for the change of the entire system. So use of digital platform was done to organize, mobilize the youths, activists, and the youths. So now, as the interim prime minister has been appointed, people do have hope for reform and a more inclusive political process. But also, having said that, the aftermath of the protest has also profound economic and social implication for the youth itself, because the destruction of businesses and infrastructure has led to financial losses, job insecurity, as we are approaching to the major festivals, Dashera and Diwali. So that is where all the family gather. People who are working abroad come back home. So in a very critical juncture, that people have lost job. So moreover, the unrest has, somehow intensified which is already existing, the trend of outward migration, with many Nepali already seeking opportunities abroad. So this Brendan poses also has posed more challenge to our long-term development. And one thing I'd also like to highlight is, amidst this chaos, misinformation and disinformation played a significant role in escalating tensions and loss of lot of lives. So a lot of false narratives and manipulated contents were circulating rapidly in social media platforms once it was opened immediately after the resignation of the prime minister, fueling distrust and division. So the government's attempt to control this digital platform not only intensified the spread of unverified information. This also somehow showed that the government and other agency should come up with a very transparent communications to combat misinformation, and that could have saved a lot of life. So as Nepal navigates through this very turbulent period, I believe it is very crucial to address the root causes of the discontent amongst the Gen Zs that could be implementing economic reform, create more job opportunities, enhancing transparency in governance, and maybe fostering a more inclusive political process where the youths are themselves engaged, and not just the Gen Zs, but other marginalized group who can come for a meaningful dialogue in rebuilding the trust and ensuring that the voices of all citizens are heard and valued. So I would like to sum up saying that the Gen Z protests for of this September have, somehow reshaped Nepal's political and social landscape. They have somehow highlighted the power of youth activism, which is unprecedented in the world scenario, and how important the digital platform can shape the movements in the modern world. Like you must have heard in the news that the youths mostly they were loosely unorganized groups, but they mostly use the social media platform generally used by gamers called Discord. And even for selecting the prime minister, few names came across from different leaders. So actually, they had voted, while the current interim prime minister, Sushila Karki, received more than 50% of vote on an online platform. So looking at all this scenario as Nepal move forward, I think embracing these changes and addressing the underlying issues for the youths will be a key in building a more prosperous future for all of us. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, mute है sir.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Mr. Neeraj Bhandari, my fault. So you have given a very good overview of the Gen Z movement, and you pointed out that apart from the media, social media restriction that was the immediate trigger of the movement, there were deep underlying issues that was agitating the mind of the youth of Nepal. The topmost is the unemployment, outside migration, and shrinking of the job much opportunity outside. You have also mentioned that corruption was a big issue in the minds of the youth of the Nepal. Then political nepotism and politicians being unapproachable, and the youth felt that they are not representing the aspirations of the people, and there was a total disconnect. You have also highlighted that during this movement, there were a lot of misinformation that was going on, which was agitating. Now, two questions I would like to ask. First is that, have you people decided on any leadership as yet? And second question is that we from India, we are seeing, and most of the world is seeing, that the students or the Gen Z is not happy with the old generation politicians, and they don't want the old political parties to have a major role in the next, whatever the new dispensation that comes up. So my question in that regard is that, how do you think that inexperienced first-time politicians emerging out of the student movement will be trusted to be handed over the destiny of this beautiful nation? How are you so sure that they will be better than I mean, many past experiences in India and so many other places doesn't give you that kind of confidence. Very briefly, can you address these two questions?
Thank you. Like you very rightly pointed out, in the past 2 or 3 decades, the leadership change has been like a musical chair, because election does not give a very clear mandate to a single party. So the governments that has been formed post in the new 2015 constitution, they have all been very unstable, and the chair of prime minister has been rotating between the top 3 or 4 leaders. So that somehow, yes, definitely had also, created a sense of frustrations amongst many youth. But also, like in the current scenario, it's very volatile to be sure of what will happen and what not. Because, like I mentioned earlier, the youth groups are very loose and unorganized because somebody else went to the district administration office to register that, okay, we are doing the protest on 9th of September. But eventually, if we look at the scenario today, those have been somehow sidelined, and new other groups and the leaders have come forward while they had a discussion with the army
So
chief
sorry
and the
for
president.
interruption. So can we assume that a clear-cut leadership which has the support of the entire student movement has not yet emerged in Nepal
Not
as
yet
yet?
been right. Yes.
Needed to know that anything
Yes,
has
but
complete has
at
happened.
the
Right? So it has not
at
happened. And
not
kindly
happen, and
address
at
this.
the current scenario, there's this popular group called Hami Nepal, led by Mr.
Okay.
Sudan Guru. So he has come to the forefront for all these negotiations, and his presence, and also like Kathmandu's mayor, who's extremely popular amongst the youth. He also has not directly been involved, but have been putting up social media messages asking the youths to come together, have a talk with the military while this entire process of appointing an interim prime minister was going on. So looking at the new leadership, see now the election has been announced. I'm sure in Nepal, as you all would know, all the political parties have to contest in the election. So most likely all these old political parties would also, having said that, if the election actually takes place
Oh,
and the given dates, of
okay.
course, the political parties, and also the news have been circulating that like even the popular youth figures, they are in process of registering a new political
Okay.
party.
Thank you.
But
Thank
as
you.
they sure,
Thank you, Mr. Bandari, because we have to have
yes,
restricted time.
yes,
So we got your answer from you that the political leadership from the student section is yet to emerging,
true,
and I wish them all the best. There must be a good representation in of the young
true.
people and students in the new dispensation. How best it will serve the interest of the Nepal, the time will only tell. Now, I will request Major General Bashnet, sir,
Mhm.
please share your views
Yeah, okay.
view the future panning out under
Mhm.
the shepherdship of the Nepali army, which
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me and reaching out to me. Firstly, I'll not go to the extent of, but I'll just talk about 5 minutes, and then answer to the questions that you may have that will bring about. So, I mean, it is very necessary to decode what was in the noise, but this noise was not new. It was a new group that came abroad, but there were noises from time and again. So the indications for political crisis to happen was there. So when you look at the Gen Z's uprising, I would term it as a natural, unscripted uprising with a Nepali pulse. And and the second is this didn't come as a revelation or a thunderbolt, but the 48 hours and the change it brought was a surprise. So this was actually an incomprehensions by the political elites of not answering when it was ripe. And the other thing that I would like to highlight is the handling of the peaceful protests. And this is not the first time as well. The administrations have been very adamant using force. So this has also so when you look at this particular incident, the Genji uprising particular, this has two sides of the coin. One, it is the Genjis, the youths that came for the protests or the protest, and the other is the handling. And the other side of the coin is the next day when, when politicians, government buildings, and everything was targeted, and the involvement and the groups involved in that. So that is the other side of the coin. But overall, when you look at this, and it's a different analysis that you have to go through all of this. But what it brought was a change. So the interim government has been formed. And Indian government has four major tasks. Though some have been spelled out, but I think they should address four major tasks. One is the amendments in the constitution, and the second is the and, uh, address the governance issues, particularly starting from the anti-corruption drive. And third is the look for, the answering the human rights issues of the use of force by the administration. And the fourth is the election. So when putting all these four things in front, there are a few issues that I would like to raise. One, Nepal has had democracy, but even today's the uprising was not a win. It was a win, but it was never a victory. If you look at all the four constitutions from the establishments of democracy, none of them become a win, none of them become a victory, because things are coming in and again from time to time. So we have not been able to really address our way of governing. At the same time, I think things are more complex with the China-India competitions and with the China-India, because we lie at the border of them. We lie at the border of both the rivalry and the competition. So let me just I will just highlight two things. One, the Nepal has a democracy, but the governance, the political parties that govern the democracy is not democratic. So something has to happen. So when we have the political parties in competition and political instability, I think there must be, so the traditional political parties, particularly the ones who are in power now, Nepali Congress and the who were in power, and the new political forces that has come across after the negotiated settlement in 2006 with the promulgation of Constitution 2015, and the new political parties that have come, like the Rashtra Swatanta Party, and the imminent political parties that will come to compete in the election. So when I was talking about election, I want to stress on the fact of electoral justice provided by the Constitution. So every citizen, wherever they may be in the world, must have the rights to vote. So this is one thing that has really been, because a person working in the deserts of Saudi Arabia is because of the policies here. So if he or she doesn't have the right to vote, then how will you feel the change? And so this is, I think, one thing we really have to look into. But I doubt the timings. 6 months, I think it may be too little, because these are constitutional obligations. So our understanding of solving the crisis may be a necessity in that, so all the stakeholders. So I feel the ball now is in the court of the political parties, the traditional political parties. And they coming up with proposals and trying to solve the problems, because other wants to solve the problems is more on the light. So with that, I think I will end now. I think I have put up enough bullets to discuss, and then I'm ready to answer any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, General Basnath. Are you available to us for some few more minutes? You said that you have some engagement.
Yes, please.
Then we will. General Sudhakar ji is, we are very privileged to have him in our audience today, and he wanted to ask some question. Sudhakar sir, are you there?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. You can be also made visible. Dr. Piyush, if you can do that.
Just a minute.
General Sudhakar is also one of our advisor, and he has been helping us a lot in our activity. So General Sudhakar, please go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you, Raj. It's a very professionally conducted event, very timely. And when I say Raj, means the complete ecosystem. And also compliment all the distinguished panelists. I'll come straight to the general, because he's spoken very well in a very short time. You covered almost everything. The canvas is large. But first and foremost thing is, you have also indicated that the elections are unlikely to take place in the stipulated time frame of 6 months. It's too short a time. I do participate in national and international multimedia mainstream platforms. So I'm aware of certain facts which may not be appropriate to disclose now through this medium. But I would like to, as an extension of your thought process, General, want to ask, first and foremost thing that is coming to my mind, is Nepal today prepared to prevent any trigger? Because these 6 months are also, I suspect, have the potentially fraught with dangers of going through the journeys of these avoidable unrest which we experience. This is one. Second thing is, as far as the general is concerned, I'll not ask for those questions because they are short-term, medium-term, long-term.
Mhm.
If the general can actually dilate on the issue of
The feeling, yeah, the feeling that I have is, I think this is an immediately, I think it's a comfort for a way out. But irritations is inevitable, and the imminent is the crisis. So this is what I am trying to point out about, like 6 months would not be enough. I think there will be enough. And so it depends on the political parties' behavior and responsibility of national. Because when you look at what King Gyanendra did, he paved the way for a peaceful transformations of the country. So a transformation is needed, but all the stakeholders have to really realize what the crisis is going to lead to. And then it comes the role of the Nepalese army. So let me just touch. I wanted to touch about the Nepalese. Nepalese army usually has it usually moves with the two things. One is it does not have any political ambitions. It's not brought out that way. And the second is it looks for legality. So it looks for legal processes and legal rights, so that when it acts upon it, it serves the rule of law and the legal rights that it possesses. So these are two fundamental things that the army usually looks for, which happened in the episode now also. Like even if the president gave the authority or the willingness for the army chief to negotiate with the stakeholders, which has happened not just in Nepal. It has happened in 2014 in Thailand. It has happened in 2011 in Egypt, 2013 again in Egypt. And so when the head of the state gives the willingness for the chiefs of the army to negotiate on the political way forward. So what I feel now is, I think the political parties have to compromise, come with a better understanding of what the reality is when a small country in the competition and in the rivalry will face in the future. Second, I think the Nepalese army will always have to prepare for the worst and see things how it unfolds, so that the citizens are in safe hands. And thirdly, I think, like when you look at the situation that happened, I mean, three things were very prevalent. One was the law enforcement forces that have credibility had degraded quite a bit, and so the morale needs to be uplifted. And second is the credibility, the legality of the political parties has slowly degrading, which will be a result in the coming up elections, I'm sure. And the third is the noise, or the noise in the public, or the issues in the public has gained momentum. So I don't think this will really die down. It will live for some time, but I'm sure politics is there. And when politics is there, I'm sure the political party would like to buy more time. I'm sure, so that they can, yeah.
Can I come straight to the question without mincing
Mhm.
my language? Please don't misunderstand me. We are equally concerned and we want peace to come back to Nepal as early as possible. General, I'll come. During the process of the agitation or unrest, it has come to light that there were some miscreants, not part of the Gen Z, who were the tipping point. They turned the non-violent protest into a violent one, leading to such kind of dangerous kind of activities against the institution. Has the law and order mechanism and the Nepalese army factored in this particular aspect to prevent a recurrence of such things in near future?
Yeah, that's why I think there are a few things that you have to really see. That's why when I brought out in my initial remarks, I said there's two sides of the coins. On the other side is the second day and the. So I think you need to connect the dots on what actually and which were the things on the target and who could possibly do it. So I think there's an investigation that should come out. I hope the government instigates that. Um, but looking at what happened, I think one of the key factors that I see is the untimely political decisions that the army was awaiting that could prevent such a, I mean, such incidents to happen. You see, so I think when you foresee things, the politicians must, and the strategic communications, the strategic leadership must be able to act in time. So the time factor had played a lot. I think if the Prime Minister had really called up the National Security Council or asked the President to endorse the mobility of the army instead of deployment, I think that 11 hours would have saved the second part of the coin.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And thank you for having me to such a good. I'll have to leave. I'm sorry. I mean, we can always meet next time. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We look forward to the next time, sir, and we will have a better organized. I'm very sorry for the technical hiccups that took place that disrupted, but we will. Recording will be fine. You will not come to know about it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Raj, with your permission, we must get the general more often to get a strategic perspective of all issues.
Sure.
How the security paradigm and architecture in Nepal looking at these kind of issues, because the general has got a lot of in-depth insight. We should take him back as soon as possible.
Sure, we will get him, sir. And now I will invite Dr. Som Prasad Kathiwad. He, with his seniority and his association with the students who can read the minds of the youth of Nepal better than you. And you tell us, how do you view this sudden outburst of your students, and what is the course that is likely to take? Do you think it was spontaneous, or do you see there is something more to it than just a spontaneous outburst? I am hinting at the foreign hands. You are free either to entertain it or reject it outright. I mean, we want your personal views, and we will love to hear it. Go ahead, Dr. Som Prasad Kathiwad.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Dear participants, at first I want to thank to all the organizers to provide me this chance to talk about the Nepal crisis after the Gen Z movement. Actually, Gen Z movement was not well organized. It was the movement of youth. The Neeraj Bhandari also mentioned that the children of the leaders were passing their luxurious life, and there was a big corruption in the country. Everyone used to say that, and they were trying to demonstrate against the corruption, and they were trying to make the government, trying to consult the government about the development of the country, and they want to raise the voice against the corruption. Actually, what happened, there was not an actual leader. Who was the leader? There was not the fixed leader for that movement. They were trying to demonstrate in the certain place, and they did the same at that day. But the at the same time, the social media also was banned at the same time, and this also encouraged the people to support the demonstration, to support the Gen Z in the demonstration, so that many people went there, they demonstrated, and the bitter event was happened at that day. 19 Gen Z were killed by the police. So that incident affect whole the country another day. In the 8th September, 19 Gen Zs were killed, and इसके दूसरा दिन क्या हुआ, many people gathered in the came out from the house and big demonstration was done, and then many people were killed. Altogether, I think 73 people are killed till today, and near about 200 people also are there in the bed of the hospital. And personal properties also was destroyed, and the government property also was destroyed. The government is calculating the amount of property, how much is destroyed. The 70 people were killed at that time. And then after that, what happened? Many people came there to take the leadership. इसके बाद क्या हुआ, जेनजी का तो वो लीडरशिप नहीं था, गवर्नमेंट चेंज करने का मकसद नहीं था, एंटी करप्शन का मूवमेंट था उनका। और ये जो नेता है, जो लीडर है, उनको कंसस करने का उनका चाहना था। इसके बाद नेतृत्व का अभाव हुआ, लीडरशिप के अभाव हुआ। डिफरेंट पीपल केम देयर इन फ्रंट टू एज द लीडर। इसके बाद क्या हुआ, लीडर के रूप में डिफरेंट पीपल आगे आया। इसके बाद क्या हुआ, सुशीला कार्की जी का अभी प्राइम मिनिस्टर इलेक्शन नियुक्ति अपॉइंट किया है, अपॉइंट हुआ है। अभी 3 मिनिस्टर है, सिर्फ 3 मिनिस्टर है। वो जो है गवर्नमेंट, इसने पूर्णता अभी तक पाया नहीं है। यहाँ प्रॉब्लम क्या है, वी आर बिटवीन इंडिया एंड चाइना, वी मस्ट बी वेरी सीरियस अबाउट द इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संबंध में हम बहुत सीरियस होना चाहिए। इसीलिए अभी राजशेखर मेहता सर ने बोला, जो पृथ्वीनारायण शाह के समय में वो हिस्ट्री भी बोला है। पृथ्वीनारायण शाह ने क्या बोला था, हम तो 2 बिग स्टोन के बीच में तरुल जैसा है, वी आर द याम बिटवीन द बिग स्टोन्स। He told that. This means that we must be very serious about the international relation also. So that our country has taken the policy of non-alignment. हमारा पॉलिसी था नॉन अलाइनमेंट का था। लेकिन क्या हुआ, पिछले हाल साल जो इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन है, वो रिलेशन भी अच्छा से कायम नहीं हुआ था हमारा नजर में। गवर्नमेंट वाज नॉट टोटली सक्सेसफुल टू मेंटेन द रिलेशन विद इन द अदर कंट्रीज। ये प्रॉब्लम था, हमारा बहुत सा प्रॉब्लम था। एक तरह क्या था, नियर अबाउट 2/3 मेजोरिटी गवर्नमेंट था। दूसरा तरफ क्या था, बेरोजगारी बहुत था, करप्शन बहुत था। आगे भी मेंशन हुआ है, मोस्ट ऑफ द यूथ्स वेर outside the country to get the job. I think near about 40 lakhs, 4 million people are there doing service in the other countries. And then they were all frustrated about the government. They were not वो सब क्या था, सरकार के काम से संतुष्ट नहीं था। ये यूथ जेनरेशन वो भी संतुष्ट नहीं था। अभी भी एक जेनरेशन है, जैसे प्रोफेसर है, टीचर है, इंटेलेक्चुअल है, जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से भी बाहर है, गवर्नमेंट से भी बाहर है, अभी भी बाहर है। वो साइलेंट देख रहा है, देश में क्या होगा, क्या नहीं होगा, वो फैक्टर भी वहाँ है। लेकिन उसका भी समर्थन वो जेनजी का पास था, क्योंकि जेनजी का जो वॉइस था वो बहुत राइट था, समय सापेक्ष था, वो राइट था। इसीलिए क्या हुआ, अब इस देश में जो हुआ बहुत बड़ा डिस्ट्रक्शन हुआ। डिस्ट्रक्शन के बाद अभी गवर्नमेंट ने पूर्णता तो नहीं पाया है। द गवर्नमेंट हैज नॉट टेकन द कंप्लीट स्टेप, बट व्हाट इज हैपनिंग नाउ, पीपल आर रिकंस्ट्रक्टिंग देमसेल्व्स। अभी क्या है, जनता सड़क में है, उसी ने वो साफ सुथरा करने में अभी अग्रसर हुआ है। जो रिकंस्ट्रक्शन में सब जो है जनता भी लगा हुआ है। डिस्ट्रक्शन हुआ, फिजिकल तो बना सकते हैं, लेकिन हमारा क्या है, कोई प्रॉपर्टी ऐसा भी प्रॉपर्टी डिस्ट्रक्शन हुआ जो हम मेंटेन नहीं करते, रिकंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं कर सकते। फॉर एग्जांपल वी टेक द एग्जांपल ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट ध्वस्त, वहाँ का सब डॉक्यूमेंट ध्वस्त हो गया। वही था, नेशनल आर्काइव था, वो बचा लिया। ये जेनजी लोग जो था डेमोन्स्ट्रेटर, उसी ने बचा लिया। दूसरा दिन का जो भीड़ था वो बहुत डिस्ट्रक्टिव था। सब जगह वो आग लगा रहा था, तोड़फोड़ कर रहा था, लूटपाट भी हो रहा था। उसी के बाद जनता भी था, जेनजी भी था, जो प्रोटेक्शन कर रहा था उसका। इसी अटेम्प्ट से हमारा नेशनल आर्काइव बचा। लेकिन जो है सुप्रीम कोर्ट वो जल गया। इसके बाद जो था हमारा सिंह दरबार था। सिंह दरबार जो 1908 में बना था, वो हिस्टोरिकल था, वहाँ बहुत मिनिस्ट्री भी था। उसको बहुत जला दिया, बहुत नुकसान हुआ। ठीक है, नुकसान हुआ, इसके बाद रिकंस्ट्रक्शन भी होगा, लेकिन ये कैसे निकास होगा पॉलिटिकल निकास का अभी तक कोई कंफर्म नहीं है। तो जो है फिजिकल डिस्ट्रक्शन वो तो रिकवर होगा नहीं, लेकिन जो पॉलिटिकल डिस्ट्रक्शन, पॉलिटिकल इनस्टेबिलिटी अभी है, वो कैसे निकास होगा अभी मालूम नहीं है। मेरा विचार ये है कि जो बड़ा एक समूह है, टीचर है, प्रोफेसर है और इंटेलेक्चुअल है, जो पर्दा के पीछे है, उसको आगे आना चाहिए और इसके सही निकास देना उसी का रोल होना चाहिए। आई थिंक सो सर।
थैंक यू, वेरी गुड डॉक्टर सोम प्रसाद जी, आपने बहुत अच्छी बात कही। जो कुछ बात मेरे दिमाग में आपके वार्तालाप को सुन करके आ रहा है, एक क्वेश्चन बड़ा एजिटेट करता है माइंड को कि एजिटेशन तो जायज था, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है। उनके जो ऑब्जेक्टिव थे वो भी नोबल हैं, लेकिन ये जो पार्लियामेंट को उन लोगों ने जलाया, बाद में चल के आपके सुप्रीम कोर्ट को जलाया, पशुपति कुछ टेम्पल्स को भी जलाने की कोशिश की गई, और आप बताते हैं आपका आर्काइव्स को जेनजी ने बचाया। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि शायद जेनजी के मूवमेंट को कोई बदनाम करना चाहता था, क्योंकि मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है जेनजी क्या पार्लियामेंट को क्यों जलाएगा और सुप्रीम कोर्ट को क्यों जलाएगा। लेकिन कारण भी हो सकता है, क्या ये सिंबॉलिक था? ये सारे सिंबल्स हैं एक प्रशासन के, और वो प्रशासन एक करप्ट पॉलिटिकल पार्टी डिस्पेंसेशन कर रहा था, तो ऐसे सिंबल मांग के उस पर अपना गुस्सा उतारा गया, ये भी हो सकता है। और तीसरी बात मैं ये भी जानना चाहता था कि ये सब में आपको लगता है कि किसी ने बाहर से इसको कुछ इस आंदोलन को बिगाड़ने की कोशिश कर रहा था?
ठीक है सर,
क्या राय है इसके? और हाँ, एक बात ये, क्या
हम्म।
कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन भी इसके लिए उत्तरदायी है, ये इनस्टेबिलिटी के लिए? आपका क्या रिकमेंडेशन है इस पे कि क्या कि ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को भी एक बार रीलुक करना पड़ेगा? कुछ लोगों ने कहा है कि जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का ढांचा है, जो रिप्रेजेंटेशन का जो सिस्टम है आपके यहाँ, वो भी बहुत हद तक जिम्मेदार है इनस्टेबिलिटी और करप्शन को प्रमोट करने के लिए। थोड़ी सी बड़े संक्षिप्त में आप अपनी राय दीजिए, क्योंकि मुझे दूसरे स्पीकर्स को भी लाना है, और ये सब विषय हम फिर बाद में फिर से टेकअप करेंगे।
ठीक है सर। सबसे पहले ये बताना ये सही है कि जेनजी का मकसद तोड़फोड़ करना, डिस्ट्रक्शन करना नहीं था। सरकार को वार्निंग करना था। उसका जो काम था, आंदोलन था, उसी दिन 8 सितंबर में समाप्त हुआ।
अच्छा,
जेनजी का डेथ तो हुआ, they were killing, 19 people were killing at that day, though they were telling their friends that please go back, go home, etc., etc. And most of the destructions were done another day, at 9th September. Firing was done at that day, and many people were killed, and the public and personal property also was destroyed. If we talk about the international affair or the national affair, all the people who were destroying the property, personal and government property, all were the Nepali there. But we don't know. उनका कनेक्टिविटी कहाँ था वो मालूम नहीं है। बाद में जब अध्ययन होगा उससे पता चलेगा। बिना अध्ययन ऐसा बोलना भी नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन जो था डिस्ट्रक्शन में ऑल नेपाली था। इसके बाद क्या था, there were many more frustrated groups there in that destruction process. I don't want to tell the name, but there were many more frustrated groups. For example, if we say about the people who are going outside for the job, जो बाहर गया है जॉब के लिए, वो सब एंटी गवर्नमेंट फीलिंग उनमें भी है, क्योंकि यहाँ जॉब नहीं है, डेवलपमेंट नहीं है, बहुत इसमें करप्शन है, ये सब उनको भी लगा हुआ है, ये भी है। जो यहाँ यूथ है, वो यूथ में भी बहुत नेगेटिविटी है। नेगेटिविटी नहीं है, उसमें भी क्या है, फ्रस्ट्रेशन है, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट ने यहाँ जॉब नहीं दिया, अच्छा से डेवलपमेंट नहीं हुआ, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा। देयर वाज everywhere there was politics. There is politics in the student, in the education, and everywhere there is politics. And there were some activists also who were always talking against the corruption and etc. etc. They were also there, and all the protected groups were collected there, and वो सब ने डिस्ट्रक्शन किया, लेकिन डिस्ट्रक्शन में कौन कौन है वो अभी छानबीन का
जी हाँ, जी हाँ, ठीक है, ठीक है। आप
छानबीन
जरा इस
बाकी
पे
है।
प्रकाश डालें। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट के लिए आप शायद पॉलिटिकल साइंस से आपका सब्जेक्ट है या हिस्ट्री का, तो आपकी क्या राय है इसमें? क्या आप समझते हैं कि जो नया हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को भी ये रीलुक करना चाहिए,
ये भी
क्या पॉसिबल है वो?
करप्शन वो पॉलिटिकल अमेंडमेंट भी पॉसिबल तो है सर, लेकिन जो है वो प्रजातांत्रिक माध्यम से करना चाहिए।
जी।
हमारा जो 10 साल में 10 गवर्नमेंट हुआ, ये बिकॉज ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन आल्सो वी हैव द सिस्टम ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव इन we have set the system of representative in the way that हमारा वो समानुपातिक है, डायरेक्ट इलेक्शन है, ये सब करके कोई भी पार्टी वो बहुमत नहीं ला सकता है अभी के
आप स्पेसिफाई कर सकते हैं वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का क्या प्रोविजन है? हमारे ऑडियंस के लिए क्या बता सकते हैं कि क्या उसमें खामी है? वो रिप्रेजेंटेशन क्यों नहीं मानते हैं कि ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन करेक्ट रिप्रेजेंटेशन नहीं कर पा रहा है? कितने परसेंटेज इलेक्टेड है, कितने परसेंट नॉमिनेटेड है? इसके बारे में कुछ बता पाएंगे आप? थोड़ा सा संक्षिप्त में बताइए, क्योंकि मुझे दूसरे स्पीकर वेट कर रहे हैं।
ठीक है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जो नॉमिनेशन का बात है, जो डायरेक्ट इलेक्शन का बात है, इससे क्या है कोई भी पार्टी आपको फुल मेजोरिटी नहीं ला सकते है। इसका मतलब एक कोलिशन गवर्नमेंट भी होगा
जब होगा।
दुनिया के दूसरा जगह अदर कंट्रीज में आल्सो क्या है कोलिशन गवर्नमेंट है, लेकिन वो टिकता है। इंडिया में भी है ना कोलिशन गवर्नमेंट, चलता है, वो भी नेपाल में नहीं चला है। इसका मतलब क्या है, पॉलिटिशियन जो है वही अपना जो स्वभाव है उसको सुधारना चाहिए। सब जगह पॉलिटिक्स नहीं होना चाहिए। मेरा मकसद ये है कि सब जगह पॉलिटिक्स नहीं हुआ है, यहाँ पॉलिटिक्स ज्यादा हुआ, ज्यादा फ्रीडम हुआ, इसी से सब बात बिगड़ गया है, सब डिस्ट्रॉय हुआ है। इसमें थोड़ा अमेंडमेंट करना चाहिए। आई थिंक सो सर।
ठीक है, थैंक यू वेरी मच डॉक्टर सोम प्रसाद काटेवाड़ जी। ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन वाले इश्यूज हम लोग फिर से देखेंगे, क्योंकि जहां तक मेरा अंडरस्टैंडिंग है the full parliament is not elected by the people, and the only a part of the parliament is elected by the people, and the political parties later on nominate their people who are not representing the people to fill up the balance of the seat, and that is leading to a lot of political parties nominating their own family members. It was very well intentioned to this provision was made to give representation to the smaller groups, tribes who cannot compete in the electoral process but needs representation. That was the purpose. But the political parties, what they did, they started using this provision to put their own people, and which were not elected, they were not representing, and their own thus nepotism came up. So somebody will definitely throw light on this. Now I will invite Dr. Poonam Rana ji. इनके साथ बहुत हमारा काफी हम लोगों ने संगोष्ठी की है इनके साथ में, और ये बहुत ही आर्ट कल्चर हिस्ट्री पे इनकी पकड़ बहुत मजबूत है और हमारे साथ हमेशा करती है। तो इसलिए मैं इनसे पूछना चाहता हूँ कि आप इस मूवमेंट को कैसे देखती हैं? एक जो चीज मुझे हमेशा दिमाग में आते रहता है, और वो मैं इंडियन पॉलिटी के एक्सपीरियंस से कहना चाहता हूँ कि एक है हर समाज का, सोसाइटी का एंड नेशन का एक रूट्स होते हैं। पौधा पेड़ बन नहीं सकता है बिना जड़ के। अगर आप किसी भी कितना विशाल वृक्ष हो, उसका जड़ अगर काट देंगे तो धीरे धीरे सूख जाएगा, गिर जाएगा, खत्म हो जाएगा। तो ये चीज हम लोगों ने इंडिया में महसूस किया है कि जो हमारे जड़ है, जो हमारा इंडियन कल्चर का जड़ जो था, वो नॉरिश नहीं हुआ है। पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस काफी निगलेक्ट हुआ है। पहले तो उसको काट दिया गया था बिल्कुल, तो फॉरेनर्स ने आकर के हमारे जड़ को काट दिए थे। वृक्ष तो था लेकिन जड़ काट दिए। और क्यों काटा? वो फॉरेनर थे, वो क्यों चाहेंगे कि हमारा वृक्ष फले फूले? तो क्या आपको लगता है कि नेपाल में भी ऐसी कोई चीज है? नेपाल इज ए दुनिया का एक ही हिंदू राष्ट्र था। तो जब ये सेकुलरिज्म में आप आए, जब कम्युनिज्म आ गया, तो इन लोगों ने बिल्कुल ही बोला ये सेकुलर स्टेट है। नाउ 85%, 87% I believe is the Nepalis are Hindus. So suddenly आपके आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस हुई है क्या? क्या स्टूडेंट्स इसको रिकॉग्नाइज करता है और क्या उनके दिमाग में ये भी आता है कि हमारा तो पहचान ही खत्म होते जा रहा है? क्या इस पे आप कुछ बताना चाहेंगे?
Yeah. Namaste, Mehta sir. I'm just a layman, and I'm more into academics. But even as a layman, and as we watched through observation as a researcher and a participant researcher, because some of my Gen Z, like 19 or 20 years of age, they are leaders, because Gen Z is not one group. It is uprising of many groups who came together in one sphere. Like at that instant they came there. So these are all smartphone and digital world children. And then and if you think clearly, what happened or what happens is not actually the work of one day, because there are many grievances, many problems, corrupt activities, emotions, feelings that pile up to the extent that it's like dried firewood placed, and one small incident will ignite the whole thing, and that was the cause of Zenzi. Zenzi was just a flick of fire, but before that there were many grievances which were silenced. Everything seemed normal from outside, but it was not. So I have a small presentation. I think if it's just 5-7 slides.
Keep it brief, Dr. Poonam.
Very
keep it confined to your 10 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, that will help us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Please go ahead with your PPT.
Let's see if I can share it. If not, Pius sir is there. Can you see it?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, if not, I will tell Pius sir to do that.
No, it has come. It has come.
Yeah?
It has come. Yes, ma'am.
It has come. Yeah. It took time.
Okay,
It has come.
I'm loading the big one. Let's
Yes.
see.
Yeah, it has come.
Okay. So Nepal in crisis. Yesterday, I thought it would be more helpful, because I'm just a layman. I just observe. So I cannot say actually many things, and I don't want Mehta sir to ask me about constitution.
No.
I'm not well versed, because I will look into only for my benefit of my academics and the academicians. Of course, I will want Nepal government, Nepali people, because utmost like what you say, Modi ji says, India first. It's just like that. Just now we are not parties. Yeah, हम लोग पार्टी नहीं है, हम लोग ethnic groups नहीं है, हम religion wise नहीं है, हम नेपाली हैं और हम नेपाल का मदर नेपाल के लिए काम करते हैं अभी. That is how we should think. If you start becoming political oriented, party oriented, religion oriented, caste oriented, then I think it will be very dangerous. So as email sent to me, there was something to do with the role of Hindu identity, then transition to secularism, and psychology of Nepalese suffering, and clamor for restoration of monarchy. This was given to me. So beside that, so let me go into now, as I said, whatever took place is not the work of one day. It was not. Otherwise, why should people have removed the king? They were unsatisfied, dissatisfied with the government of the king. That's why heritage that had gone there for so many years were removed. So in 2008, the king peacefully left the palace, and he just said, 3 or 4 words. He said, people don't want me, I will not stay. That was his 2 words. And then he bid goodbye, despite a lot of people going against him, asking it was a horrible scene, but he remained peaceful. And even the armed forces and army were saying, if you want, we can fight for you. But he said, no, why should I try to hurt anyone? I don't want to hurt any Nepali people. And he just left silently and he walked away without killing. I think that is the only in the histories or in the Guinness Book of World Record, that was the first person who left without killing anyone. Otherwise, once you get the power, people will not give up. They are like man-eating tigers. So, and until then, until the king was there, it was a Hindu Rashtra. Since Vedic age, king is connected to Lord Vishnu. So he is representative of Narayan. So that was the concept. Even now, many people in the villages, remote areas keep saying, Raja Nava Kuddis Kikam. That is, where there is no king, what is the use? That is what they say. Even today, many in remote areas, they don't know about the political parties or anything because they are surviving on their own sustainability. So now, after this, then the Maoists came. Now the Maoists, as soon as they came by dividing ethnic groups. They came by instigating the ethnic groups, division of ethnic groups, creating rift. It was such a horrible thing. Like even in Kathmandu itself, we were thinking Kathmandu will be one, Patan will be one, and Bhaktavir will be another. In fact, we were fighting. They were mind playing. They were mind playing at that time. And we were thinking like if we go to Patan or Lalitpur, we will have to take a visa. It was like that. They were mind playing. They were saying, this is Nevar's place. So you, Chetri or Bahun or whatever, Brahmin, you go to your place. That was the attitude then. It was a mind game. They came by playing lot of, not only by killing, but lot of mind games. And then see the background of what has taken place today. Then secularism came, and after coming of secularism, openly, even the leaders promoted. And we don't know. It's just because I have nothing to do with, at present, with no institution, so I can speak up. But others are connected with the institution, they cannot. I'm just a Nepali and I can say it because I'm not connected anywhere at present. So at that time, people were saying like perhaps there were unions who were funding them, outsiders who were funding them to spread Christianity. And it went to, and you won't believe just now, majority of the population, though Hindus, yet there are so many Christians. During Easter, you can see them lining up. They are giving them scholarship to go to America to study Bible. This is very true. I'm telling the truth. And then they are not only doing that, they are even organizing feast for them. And like in Hinduism, there is little bit, despite a lot of modernization, change, there is still in the remote areas, there will be tap or dunge dara or stone tap, different for the Shudras and different for the other groups. So these kind of rigidity actually made them turn into Christian. Now, when you turn the youngsters into Christianity and they said, in this, there is no arranged marriage, there is free, like love, you can go and do love relations. So many youngsters went there. And then now, after they married, the children of those people became Christian by birth. That is how it is increasing. And majority population were angry. Of course, everyone will be. but they were mum, or they did not say anything, but it was there. The underlying current of dissatisfaction was there. Then another scenario is the only 3 people went on the political merry-go-round. Like the merry-go-round was one prime minister. They were all like, all 3 of them in front of us. They were fighting when the voting time came, one scolding the other, one talking about another's bribery. But inside they were one person when they came to get the benefit. So it was like a merry-go-round, only 3 people. And not everyone's wife, but few of the ministers' wife became very, very powerful. In fact, they were the ones who were ruling over the men. Many people know that. And I won't take the name, but corruption grew and increased. And there was a silent oppression reaching the apex. Outside, there was no oppression, but inside they were threatening, so that the media, so that the press, no one were speaking against the government's corruption. They had, the voice was silent. And if someone spoke next day again, it was a silent thing. It was very strange. Like we observers were, I was shocked. I was wondering what's going on, because the medias, they did not speak a word. So, and another great incident that took place few months in 2025 was a monarchy group. There was a procession, a silent procession, where they were making munch, where the leaders would speak. It was a peaceful procession. Of course, it's a democratic republic, federal, whatever they have termed, so many big names for a small country. So they wanted them to speak up against corruption and all. But then suddenly rifle shots were given. So that was very, because in international law also, when you shoot, they were not armed people, they were just sloganing, were trying to make the leaders come, and all at once barricade. The leaders gave orders to shoot rifles. Rifle? That was shocking news for all of us. And then one journalist who saw the incident was burnt alive on that day. That, see the piling of the problems. So, and the other journalists also did not raise the voice. It was a shocking matter, and it's still a shocking matter, at least for me. I don't know about others, because they can't say anything. I'm not bothered, because I'm a kind of person which if I see something wrong, I will say it, and others will not, because I am no one to butter up here anyone. So at that time, I was really shocked, and I was wondering, there'll be journalists uprising. There would be, at that time, I was expecting a flick of fire, but it did not. It was silenced. And the corruption not only had footholds in the political sphere or in the administration, it had slowly, what happened even into the academics. There was, the system gave importance to monopoly, party phone calls, power of the high officials and their wives ruled over the capability. So the grievances were innumerable. So then the findings, as time and again, pro-monarchy protest was common in Nepal. Those powers silenced the press, radio, TV, and then I think we were also very greatly influenced, though people don't talk about it, but surrounding influence does count. So Sri Lankan event, Bangladesh crisis and protest was a burning influence, and it had all the people, I don't know, general public, when we talked, also said, even in our country, there should be something like this. It's too much. They have to be pulled out of their houses. That is what we said, not in front of the press, but as friends and small.
Your recommendation, and Dr. Poonam Rana, General Sudhakar ji has especially rang me up to tell that Dr. Poonam Rana is giving an excellent presentation. She should be allowed to complete her presentation completely. He is very appreciative of it. So kindly continue where you had left.
Okay, as I told you, whatever happens or happened is not the work of one day. There were many, many grievances, problems, political unrest, corruption, corrupt activities that led into what this took place. Nepotism, monopoly, lot of unrest which piled up, and we were expecting, like, at one time there was a pro-monarchy procession, and many people were participating for a peaceful thing at Pinkune. There's a place near the airport, slightly away. And all at once, when they were trying to, the leaders were trying to give, they were all unarmed people. So all at once, are you seeing the slides, sir? I don't know if I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, you are audible and the slides are
Okay.
visible.
Then at that time, the leaders ordered someone ordered someone to shoot. And the rifle was used, which was against the international law because it was peaceful procession, and everyone in a democratic federal republic, whatever they say, it's a everyone has the right to put out their views and opinion. So
This point you had already put across, Dr. Rana.
And okay, and then they were, the other points were, they were influenced by Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and the locals were actually dissatisfied. Then the corrupt leaders and their children started flaunting their wealth. That I told you, and even our Neeraj and others have talked about that. And the locals termed them as Nepo babies because they were wearing watches of 1 crore, which was, and the slogan the children, Genji, raised were, "Our fathers are in Khadi," that is in Qatar, Dubai, working, slogging to earn certain amount, and you are flaunting your wealth. And that was the thing, and they termed them Nepo babies, all these ministers' sons and daughters, and a lot of underlying unrest took place. And then the local wanted the government, the corrupt system to be removed. On the first day of the 8th September, Genji group, they were just carrying their water bottles with their bags, and Genji between age group of 15 and 27, 8, like that. They gathered, raised with a slogan, with a placard, and all at once we say, what do we say, like Vinashakale Viparita Buddhi, and the leaders just ordered them tear gas, water spray, and they were unarmed people with just water bottle and a bag and a placard. So they were shot with rifle, and the rifle was shot and aim was taken, which is very beyond international law or whatever. They were targeting the head and the heart, and that is wrong. It is below the knee. That also only when it is very much necessary, but it was not. So that triggered the fire. And then these people, one thing strange I found, because I'm a person from this place and we were observing everything, though I did not go into that turmoil, but there were no human rights people at all. And that was very, very strange. Why? Why were the human rights people not there? It's very strange. Because always USA Human Rights Group and European Union Human Rights Group, they are always coming and taking videos and this and running in front. But There were no one there, and we were shocked because those children were just carrying bags and slogan placard and water bottles. That's all, and they were shocked. And then they went and break through the Samsad Bhavan. They unfurled the flag, and many people, children were shot. And but one thing, I as a what do you say, rational person who can analyze, we can say they did not burn that Samsad Bhavan. They could have burned it at that instant. They did not. So that was, and then the curfew broke out, army came. So all this took place. Then after that, they actually raised the slogan which the Genji had put was against corruption, nepotism, lack of opportunities and all that. Then the scenario of the second day, 9th, was now in name of Genji. Genji is the name, but if you see the videos, you will see elderly people participating. The burning areas also you won't see. Of course, there are few Genji's children, but others are all elderly groups, above 30s, 35, 40s, older, luteras, criminals, Maoist. I say it openly because I'm not attached to any group or any parties. At present, I'm just a Nepali, and I want peace for Nepal. That's all. That's my view. Though my father died working for monarchy, so I'm from inborn, I'm a supporter of monarchy, but at present I'm not. I'm no one. I'm just a Nepali, plain Nepali supporting Nepal. So on this day, these looters started burning, destruction. Okay, the building has not done any corruption. Those building is our asset. It was older than 200 years. It's so difficult to make those buildings. And these people were horrible. They actually burnt, and a lot of burning of, I think they were targeting important places like Nagrikta office, National Identity Card office, where the papers are. What has got to do with Zenzi and corruption? Okay, corruption papers, or someone was targeting because now all the papers are lost. Maybe it was that, God knows. So there are many hidden things going on, which is beyond laymen like me can understand few things, but about others I cannot say. So at that instant, the corrupt leaders, like our prime minister, he escaped, fled, and then I don't know from where he said, I've resigned, but he did not come into media or anything. He just vanished away. And the scenario was quite frightening because my house is in between president and prime minister's quarter. We were not allowed to go out. So we were like inside. And scenario, we could see the smoke rising, and my uncle's house, Mama Ghar, is very near PM's quarter. So I was ringing them up and asking and finding out. So it was a frightening scenario. But one thing I found was, unlike Bangladesh, where women violation occurred during this uprising and riots, our people, be they luteras or be they whoever, Maoist or what, but majority are Hindus and Buddhists. So all of them, nearly majority, 90% are Buddhist and Hindus people participating. There was no violation of women or anything like that. It was pure looting, burning, going to the corrupt leaders, pulling them out of their house. You can see the minister being pulled. They were very, I think the army had called them to say, please abandon your house. But our minister, Madam Arju and all, and our Deupaji, they did not. They were thinking they are very safe in their homes. But when millions, I could see from my house, from Rashtra Bank, that is near PM's quarter, from there, the procession still was, the head was near our place, and then they marched all. There were millions of people, and who can stop them? And it was a curfew time. So this is the scenario that took place. When the water goes above the bridge, no one can stop it. And we say, like all of us know, karma will come to us. What we do one day, the wheels of God move very slowly, but it does. So it's best we don't do anything bad. So the aftermath was there was no government. The army took over for peace and security. But I admire the army because if you remember, in Pakistan, when army takes over, it does not hand over that power to another person. Whenever the power comes, they will try to hold it and try to rule it. They could do that. The army chief could do that. Sigdelji could do that. He didn't. That was an admirable feat on his part. And on the third day, we were a little bit worried because these people in 2017 had signed Millennium Challenge Cooperation, MCC. And I don't want to go into detail. The countries who have signed MCC have faced a lot of trouble. Instead of construction, it is more of a destruction if you do research. I have done that. So I'm saying the truth. Anyone can say that because once they look into the net, everything is out. So we were worried that they will send their foreign armies. Now, we are in between China and India. Yeah? We are just a small land between two great nations. So, yeah. Okay, so we are in a very difficult region. We have to be friendly to China. We have to be friendly to India. So we didn't want our fate to be like Syria or like Liberia or Sudan or Afghanistan, where all these kind of name of development MCC was signed and the army came to set up peace. They did not leave. Because one thing you can realize it, we may be different ethnic groups, we may be different religion, we may be different parties, but when it comes to nation and national good, we are one. We are Nepali. So the Gorkhas would have chopped those, whoever they are. So we were in a state of, at least I went through a sleepless night wondering what will happen. And then finally the army, the interim government or 6 months government came and our first Nepalese female prime minister, that is Sir has already said, Pasnipji, others have already said there was online voting and she got majority vote and she came. Then the army chief handed over the power. So now the question is, the leaders, the three most important merry-go-round leaders have gone away, but during their tenure, they have appointed their people a lot throughout the administration field, throughout the offices, all belonging to either one person, two person, third person. So the sub-roots are still there, and these roots are also there, calling up and finding out what's going on. But at present, I say even those people who came from either the three leaders, they should think not as a party, not as a religion, not as an ethnic group, but as a pure Nepali for the welfare of Nepal. Then only a new policy, new government for the benefit of everyone, the youngsters, the youths, the elders, everyone will take place. Thank you. That's all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Poonam.
Yeah.
You gave a really emotional connect to the events, more than intellectual and analyzing and all. You have really connected us to the feeling of the Nepalese people when they were going through that terrible traumatic
Because my topic
experience.
was psychological suffering, and it
Yes.
was a psychological. Even now, we are in a little bit of trauma.
Yeah. So you have brought out, apart from facts and figures, you have connected it to the emotions of the Nepalese people. Thank you very much for that. And now we have already run out of time. We have overshot. So I will quickly see in the chat box. There are some questions. One question is from Mr. Atreya, and he wants to say that the monarchy was also very well at one point of time become unpopular and was steeped with corruption. And he is asking, is the current disposition of the democratic setup is more corrupt and bad than the monarchy, or?
Oh, of course, 1,000 times more. Earlier, it used to be under the table, but now it's over the table. When we go to do some work, they will say, it's so gloomy. Can you treat us tea? And that tea will cost you more than 5-star hotel. Unless you do give money, your work will not be done. And it's openly, because the leaders are corrupt. Jatha Raja, Swata Praja. So,
Yeah.
That
So the corruption is as bad, much more than.
During monarchy, there was, of course, everywhere there is corruption. We cannot say in all government are free.
So the old generation people have still nostalgia about the monarchy and howsoever bad it was.
It's stability. Not old generation. If you ask the school children, because in that in between, you will see very soon after 6 months what will happen.
There's another question is from Chandra Mohan, says Namaskar and Dhanyavad for a very thought-provoking webinar. Thank you for the organizer. There is Dr. Lamba Bano, thank you for the information. Okay, so I don't have many questions from the audience because of the disruptions. Now I will request Dr. Mr. Neeraj Bhandari to give his closing remarks, please.
So just to close, I would say like all the senior professors and General Basnath has summed up the entire scenario from their own perspectives. So I'd also like to say that, the September 2025 protest where definitely it was a historic moment in Nepal's democratic journey, and they reflected very well the frustrations of the younger generation demanding accountability, transparency, and a future for young people with more opportunities. But also the protest, while summing up, I would say that highlighted the structural weaknesses. That's the gap in governance, slow responses like Madam Poonam Rana just mentioned to citizens' need, widespread accusation of corruption, and the vulnerability of our systems to tackle with information, misinformation, disinformation. So I know looking ahead, we have a country and we have to build it back stronger. And of course, this involves protecting our democratic processes, engaging as many youth as possible in policy making, enhancing transparency, I'd say, and also improving the digital literacy, which we did not cover much in today's discussion, to counter, these kind of misinformations. So by listening to the voices of Gen Zs that now has surfaced, the major thing I would say is restoring the trust in the constitution or in the governance process, and to create a very inclusive economic as well as social opportunities for the youth. So that somehow would transform this crisis into a long-term stability, prosperity. And that's it from my end. Thank you.
Yeah, very well said. You covered everything beautifully. You are very, very articulate, and we will definitely like to get you back again in our next session. Now I will request Dr. Som Prasad to please give his closing remarks, and thereafter I will request Dr. General Sudhakarji to give his concluding remarks of the entire session. Please, Dr. Som Prasad.
Thank you, Mehta sir.
हाँ, हिंदी में बोल सकते हैं.
ठीक है सर.
Audience तो सारे हिंदी भाषी हैं.
What happened in the past, it is happened. We cannot cover it. हम सब वो रिकंस्ट्रक्शन में लगा हुआ है।
जी
इससे
जी
जो हुआ अब क्षति नहीं होगा, क्योंकि वो यार बनो सब कुछ जो है वो स्थिर हो रहा है, रिकंस्ट्रक्शन में लगा है। देयर आर ओनली two things to be done in the future. One thing
जी
is that the political parties should compromise the present situation and go directly to the election. Each and every people have to help to go to the election, and we have to make the election success. And the second thing is that the interim government should be prioritized only in the election. Their vision should be the election, not the other. Otherwise, we cannot control the situation. So that we have to keep two vision. If we go in this way, ऐसा करने के बाद क्या होगा, सब स्थिर होगा, सब अच्छा से जाएगा। यही है सर मेरा विचार। Okay, thank you very much for listening me.
Sure. Thank you very much. We will get you back again. And now, General Sudhakar ji to give his closing remarks to end this discussion. Are you there, sir? Unmute your mic, sir.
Ah,
No, thank you, Raj. I have nobody to give closing remarks. You are the.
No, sir. You are in your presence, sir.
No, I'm also learning. Okay, very quick point. Firstly, compliments to all the very distinguished co-panelists. And I think it has been, in a short time, they have covered much more than beyond our expectations. From my side, as your advisor, we should make it very clear that the aim of this particular event or presentation or panel discussion is to be a solution provider. IIRF is to be seen from the perspective of as a solution provider of one of our neighbors, जिनके साथ हमारा जो आप बोलना रोटी बेटी के जो रिश्ता है वो है, because we cannot, if you are sleepless, if you are harassed, if you are troubled, we are more troubled than you. We are very, very concerned about the peace and stability coming back as soon as possible. This is one point. Secondly, please do pardon me. I have no intentions of sharing anything which may sow the seeds of discrimination or divisions. I am only sharing certain inputs. You all are very intelligent, and particularly, I would say, Neeraj has spoken well, so has Dr. Poonam and Dr. Som Prasad, all of you and the general. I am just sharing one input with you. The present statistics of the division of the religion in Nepal. Just Google up, you'll find the figures. Hindus 81.2%, Buddhists 8.2%, Muslims 5.1%, Kirat 3.2%, Christians 1.8%. Go back in time, I could not, in a short time, I could go back because the Google also doesn't have the details. It is showing from 1971. The Hindus were 89.4%. They have come down to 81.2% now. Buddhists was 7.5 in 1971. They have gone up to 8.2%. Muslims were 3.04% in 71. It has gone up to 5.1% now. I cannot tell the details of Kirat and Christian. This is a very important input, which I think for thinking people like you, cerebral people, must keep in mind. And I don't have to dilate the issue. Second issue that I want to share is, as solution providers, I am very fearful. Being a soldier, you see, we are taught, we are brought, our upbringing is based on the paradigm of the boundaries of prevention is better than cure. Okay, so I don't want, as a soldier, if we can contribute in a penny's worth, that similar things should take place. But what I wish to share with the thinking and cerebral people today is that there is a bigger picture we should not lose sight of. Okay, it may not be understood by the common man on the ground, because for him it is something. You know, corruption हो रहा है, नौकरी नहीं मिल रहा है, दाम बढ़ गया है, उसके लिए है. लेकिन आप जो पढ़े लिखे हैं, जो गहराई में जा सकते हैं, जैसे डॉक्टर पूनम का presentation, she is seeing beyond what is visible. That is what we are actually holding this meeting for. You see, there is a big picture taking place over the world. That big picture is nothing. It is manifesting in form of strategic rivalry. Strategic rivalry, people will mistake India is your roti beti ka rishta ka pados hai. We are not into any kind of strategic rivalry, nor do we ever think to have a strategic rivalry. Strategic rivalry is between USA and China. Dr. Poonam ma'am brought out one acronym, I think, CMC or something. It is there all over the world. USA had released $500 million under that heading, if I'm not wrong, in 2017, if I respect my memory. And it was on the name of, supporting the democratic architecture. Okay. So this is peanuts. Why is it happening? First started with Sri Lanka, thereafter Maldives, thereafter Bangladesh, thereafter Nepal, and the day is not far when Bhutan also will start crying horse. Myanmar is already burning. So why is this happening? So there is a rejuvenation of, no superpower will ever be comfortable by compromising its authority and supremacy. No superpower. There's a Thucydide trap that Dr. Professor Allison's theory, 2015, Poonam ma'am, Neeraj and others, आप लोग पढ़े लिखे आपको पता होगा. He said very clearly, no established power will ever allow any rising powers to come near its footing. He's carried out extensive study of past 500 years. 16 cases have led to very intense conflicts. Okay, so basically it is that game. USA is perhaps feeling the pinch of losing its supremacy and authority. Therefore, it is trying to revive. Yesterday has been a breaking news, although I knew long time back that Bagram airport has been taken over or in the process of being taken over. And
Yes.
the president himself, he came out loud and clearly. So that, and I am the only one who's been saying in the media, yeah, अभी से चल रहा है हिंदुस्तान और USA के बीच में ये सब ड्रामा है.
Yeah.
The centrality of the issue is that superpower will be superpower. Superpower will becoming a superpower if it allows a rising power to rise up. Okay, so therefore every action that is taking place, ये मुनिट शुनिट को बुला के गोद में बिठा के लंच करा, ये सब ड्रामा है. These are all drama. Okay, so ultimately today only in the breaking news you will see the Balochistan Liberation Army, which they had declared as terrorist organization, today in the 1296 resolution of UN 1999 ka 1296 or 97, China and Pakistan, they have branded this particular as a global terrorist organization. Today, I just read, I hope I am not wrong, USA has objected, sorry, under the given circumstances, with the available kind of inputs, we are not justified to brand it as a global terrorist organization. Ye kya flip-flop ho raha hai? Kya meaning hai? So you will understand, join the dots. So what I'm coming to is there is a big picture taking place, and we should be mindful of the fact that Nepal has got a very large boundary, long boundary with India, particularly Bihar and UP. Bihar and UP, I think, comes to around 1,300 or 1,400 kilometers. And during COVID pandemic, we had, if I again respect my memory, 35 checkposts. Now it came down to 21 or 27. Now I believe only 7 are operational. Joint checkpost has got a very deep meaning between Nepal and India. We have to be very, very clear for a worst, situation going out of hand. Okay, so see, the checkposts have come down to 7. 7 have got immigration facility, if I remember correctly. And third thing that I want to say, that besides the big things happening at the global level, there are intermediate or the regional level activities taking place. Right since 80s, we know that ISI is present there in Nepal. ISIS has come in. Turkey has come in. Nepal, amongst our neighbors, has got largest number of NGOs, non-government organizations. These NGOs are getting funding from all forces inimical to the growth story of India. The whole drama is basically to stop India now or never. $4.19 trillion अगर नहीं रोकोगे, कोई नहीं रोक सकता है. हिंदुस्तान को कोई नहीं रोक पाएगा. उसको रोकने के लिए ये सब ड्रामाबाजी चल रहा है, ring of fire and strategic strangulation and all that. It will take place. That is the bigger picture I'm trying to say. But the intermediate or the regional issue is that ISI is present. Turkey has come in the name of some NGO, carrying out tree plantation along the border between India and Nepal. And along with the Turkey, let's not be horrified or shocked to learn, there is a deep involvement of Qatar. There are Nepalese who have gone into the security paradigm of Qatar there. They're providing this thing. They're being coerced, they're being forced to convert the religion. Only then they will be entitled to pension. These are the kind of issues. There are very sensitive issues. I don't want to go into that. But broadly, I just want to throw ahead. And local level, I only hope and pray that people down below at the grassroots, they have understood that the big game plan. Little while back with the General Saab, I triggered that point. I hope the decision makers are aware of the fact of the tipping point. The tipping point between a peaceful protest to a violent protest. How did that tipping point take place? There are reports which are coming in the open media. People have seen motorcycle पे आके पटका लगा हुआ है, हाथ में वो मोलोटोव कॉकटेल लेके घूम रहे हैं, कोई बंदूक लेके घूम रहा है. They are flourishing da and kukri and whatnot. So, and they are the ones who have burnt. You see, no indigenous Nepali population ever. I have been to Nepal myself a number of times. I have my relation. I have my courtsmates there. The chief is known to me. So these are the people. What I'm saying is that there is a very, very dangerous component which has been infiltrated into Nepal to exploit the opportunity and do these kind of damages. Particularly, most horrifying scene was the ministers, people of excellence, of the people, by the people, for the people. We have elected them, and look at the way the finance minister has been ripped apart and thrown into a gutter onto the riverside. It is this thing is going viral. So if it is happening with Nepal, it can happen to somebody else. The last point I have is Islamic fundamentalism. Islamic fundamentalism is spreading. The number of madrasas and the masjids which have grown up from Tarai region upwards as you keep climbing up, they have doubled as far as my open domain research and study is concerned in past 2 to 5 years. We should be mindful of that. And last but not the least, Chair Raj, if you allow me, I only have humble request. All of you are cerebral, intellectually very, very superior. Selection of leader is very, very important. Understand the big game which is going on. Understand as to what the superpower wants to position whom. China wants who there. Under these circumstances, even if it takes more than 6 months, doesn't matter. Slow and steady will always win the race. And I am of the firm view, a slow growing tree will always bear the sweetest fruit. Have patience, have strategic calm, and have, I would say, trust your neighbor. Geography cannot be contested ever. It is not applicable with Pakistan and China, but between Nepal and India, if you start contesting the nature's gift, then perhaps the solution provider's attempt will get totally nullified. Our only sincere prayers and hope is that Nepal must get back to normalcy at the earliest. That's all. Thank you so much, Raj.
Okay, since we have run out of time and there is so much to say, everybody wants to say something. We will meet again and we will continue. For the time being, I will thank all the participants, especially our guest speakers from Nepal. They have spoken very well and they have shared their personal views, very intimate views. And let me make it clear that India as a neighbor is no one to advise you what is best for you, what you should do, what you should not do. Sometimes we might say, but we have no intention. It's Nepal's problem. The Nepali people have to decide what is best for them. We are only there to assist you. And this platform I have made available that whenever you want to voice your views about anything, it is available. I have deliberately not kept it India-centric or India's perspective of this saga. We will have another, our platform will talk about these things, but not when we are inviting you to discuss your problems. We are no one to advise you. With this, I will say thank you, and we will have the geopolitical, what General Sudhakar has brought out, the geopolitical dimensions where Indian perspective also has a very big stake in what is happening. we will discuss that in a separate. Okay, and thank you once again. And with this, I close the meeting today. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, General Sudhakar, for giving us the dimension and perspective which was not covered in this discussion. We will definitely talk about that.